Take a deep breath. Can you smell that? It's the smell of an international event brewing before our eyes. If you can see it, and if you're a politician in Washington, you can apparently legislate it too. Is this U.S.-Canadian smoke war really about air quality, or just bad politics? Or is it something else altogether? Could it be a long-held grudge the U.S. is holding against Canada for a regular similar dispute back in the 1980s and 1990s? You remember that. It was all about acid rain. While Canadians are fighting record wildfires on the ground, some politicians south of the border aren't looking for hoses. They're looking for someone to sue, someone to blame.
Showing Canadian wildfire smoke pouring into major cities from the Midwest all the way to the East Coast. And today, more than 100 million Americans are under air quality alerts as smoke from more than 900 wildfires burning across Canada blankets some U.S. cities.
It's just gotten so bad.
In Washington, the monuments are barely visible, some masking up on the National Mall.
It's affecting everybody's physical activity.
Wildfires, American lawmakers criticizing and blaming Canada for it. The president has even threatened tariffs.
I find it a shame the administration in the U.S. and Congress people writing these letters and blaming us.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford hitting back today.
They have a very short memory. We had the water bombers, everyone ready, going over to California. It was last year. We sent down hydro linemen down to the Carolinas and Georgia to help out. That's what neighbors do, right? You don't get on and start threatening and criticizing because guess what? One day it's going to be your turn.
In a Friday social media post, U.S. President Donald Trump said he is holding Canada responsible, calling the wildfire smoke willful negligence, adding the cost must be added to the tariffs Canada is currently.
Back in the 1980s, we faced a similar crisis with acid rain that developed into a huge international incident. Back then, we didn't just point fingers. We signed a treaty, we worked together, and we fixed it. So, there's actually a legal document from the 1990s that could solve this whole debacle, but politicians are ignoring it. Be sure and watch for it in part 3 of this video to find out exactly what that document is. But let's fast forward to today, and the air is thick with more than just smoke. In fact, here in Vancouver, it is quite thick today from forest fires within Canada, but also from Washington State that's drifting up into our area. It's thick with political grandstanding and ludicrous sound bites. It's as if they think we have a giant fan at the border pointing the blaze south. I mean, is the Canadian-U.S. relationship actually going up in flames? Or is there a way to clear the air that doesn't involve a courtroom? I'm Doug Rogers, and today we're going north of opinion to find out why the smoke war is a distraction from the real solutions we actually need. So now let's talk about the dialogue coming out of Washington lately. If you haven't seen the headlines, some officials are actually suggesting we should be penalized for the smoke drifting into their jurisdictions. So we've heard everything from threats of new tariffs to talks of legal sanctions. It's reached a level of absurdity that honestly, well, it just makes you want to laugh, except for the fact that it's a serious diplomatic debacle. And one soundbite that really got me was the idea of smoke borders. It's as if the atmosphere recognizes a line on a map, and they're telling their constituents, we're going to hold Canada accountable. As if our Prime Minister has a giant thermostat and a smoke direction switch right there in his office. But let's be real here. This is performance art. It's politicians trying to appease frustrated voters who, rightfully so, are tired of the hazy air. But instead of saying how they can help out their neighbors put out these fires faster, they're saying, how can we bill you for the wind? It's the ultimate not in my backyard mentality, except the backyard is the entire continent. If we start down the road of suing each other for where the wind blows, just where does it all end? Do we sue the Midwest for a dust storm? Do we sue the Gulf Coast for a hurricane? It's not just unscientific, it's unneighborly. And frankly, while they're busy crafting the perfect Tough on Canada tweet, the forests are still burning and the air is still thick. We're losing focus on the fact that this is a shared disaster requiring a shared response. All right, so the finger pointing is a dead end, and I think we can do better here. I'm a solutions guy, and I believe we can do better than just waiting to watch the wind change direction. If we want to clear the air, we have to stop treating the border like a barrier and start treating it like a shared responsibility. Here's how we actually move forward and work together. First, we need a permanent joint wildfire task force. Right now, we share resources when things get desperate, but it's often reactive. We need a year-round permanent cross-border agency where firefighters, scientists, and satellite data from both the US and Canada are integrated into one command. If the smoke doesn't stop at the border, our prevention shouldn't either. Second, we could also use a shared forestry management program and funding, so a shared strategy between Canada and the United States about how we manage our forests. A lot of the rhetoric in the DC right now is all about forestry management. Well, if the health of Canadian forests directly impacts American air quality, then it's in America's best interest to invest in a joint program and projects. We're talking about shared costs for preventing fires in the first place. The big caveat is you cannot prevent weather, lightning strikes, and the current level of global warming on either side of the border. Nature has its own agenda. You also have to consider that Canada's forests are huge, and realistically, there is no way to effectively clear underbrush or even prescribe burns or controlled fires. It's just too large an area to do that. Regardless of geography or any excuses, it would be cheaper and more effective just to join forces and fight these terrible fires. And finally, we need to modernize the 1991 Air Quality Agreement. That's the agreement that we signed back in the 80s and 90s when it was all about acid rain. Well, now the shoe's on the other foot, and that treaty was a triumph for acid rain because it focused on cooperation. And now we need to update it for today and for the future to include wildfire resilience. So let's set shared targets for forest health and emergency response times instead of just measuring how much haze crosses the 49th parallel. Both countries complain too much to each other on this topic. The bottom line is we share a continent, we share a climate, and whether we like it or not, we share the air that we all breathe. We can either spend our energy drafting lawsuits or we can spend it drafting a plan that keeps both our countries breathing easy. I'd rather build a bridge than a wall of smoke. But what do you think? Is a joint task force the answer, or have politics become too toxic to fix? Has the Trump administration already closed the door on this topic? Let me know in the comments. I'm looking for real ideas, not just opinions. And if you learned anything from this video or enjoy my content, please like, comment, and subscribe to this video below and to my channel. Thanks for going north of opinion with me today. I'm Doug Rogers, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.
North of opinion, a voice that's true. sharing ideas from my world to you.